My name is Ruth Judge, and my husband was Jerry Judge with the Topeka. When he was with the Valley Forge, I think it was, or one of them he was with in Korea. And then the Topeka was over in the Tonkin Gulf. Yeah, he was in, and then in the 62, 63. And yeah, that was a very scary time. And when they were in the Tonkin Gulf, they they were held over, and they had the fantail frolics a lot. And he was and at that time he was an E8. They needed something to keep the morale up. And they would have really crazy, people would sing and they'd dance and they'd do all kinds of things. And they actually had, a bunch of the officers had hula skirts and coconuts, and they would do a dance. They just did that. He was the MC of all of that. And like Gary and Dan, they had a little band that they had together, and it was just fun, like a vaudeville show, kind of, to keep people, because at this time they were not shooting, or they weren't, they just were there because it was almost over. So that's what the fantail frogs are. Just a combat zone, and the fact that they had to load the missiles off, and they, one time they shot one, and it, how sometimes they come back, and yeah, they had to explode it. It was he when he was in the Korea, he and two other guys, because he could do whatever that. It's not a computer because they weren't done yet. And he and two other guys went over in a rubber boat to some hill, and they sat up there one whole night while they made some kind of lights on the ship to, see if they could gauge for if they needed to bombard the land. And he said that was the coldest he's ever been in his life. Yes. And then they came back before sun up, and nobody bothered them, but they were actually on the ground in Korea. In Vietnam, they went up the river, as far as the big ship would go, and there was a lot of just, bugs, and that was all that he really remembered about that, except that it was so sad seeing the people. Well, this is different. He played bridge. He was a master bridge player. Whoever the captain was, I think it was Rule, when they were over in the Philippines one time, they on a people-to-people thing, and they were going in and doing a lot of, Captain Rule found out that he could play bridge, and he had challenged somebody on the island, and so he and Jerry started playing bridge together, and in tournaments and what have you, in all of this. And then when he retired, he used to play golf at Admiral Baker Field in San Diego with 3 or 4 admirals. I don't know why, or how, but they just were friends. They had met out there, and after he retired, and they were trailing, his group was trailing them, and they started talking, and so, and that's just the way, I can't really explain his personality, but it was one that was overwhelmingly welcoming, and it was something. It were the best years of my life, yes. So, and I miss him terribly, but that's okay. it's the way life goes. And then he came home from there on the Topeka, and I at that time was 9 months pregnant. And I asked my doctor if I could go to Long Beach to pick up my husband. And he said, sure, you just have to take me with you. And I said, well, that'd be a little hard. So I called a cousin that lived in Los Angeles and asked him to go and get. Then, because it was difficult to get work, you couldn't call the ship any, no TV on the ship, that kind of stuff. But I finally got the Navy to get him the message that the cousin was going to pick him up and bring him to San Diego. And then I had my daughter the next day.